the organizers for giving us the opportunity to be able to participate in this event, share and give an overview of the project, the activities, our experiences, together with my colleague Dimitar Vanav. So we'll try to give you a brief walkthrough through all of this. I just wanted to maybe just start with a reflection, I think, on the topic of this convention, which I see really pertinent in the current circumstances. I mean, as we all know, I mean, we all see what's happening across all Europe and across the world when it comes to agriculture, the challenges the farmers are facing, all the issues that are going forward, and why then it is so important, this issue of education. I mean, it's so important because it underpins all the efforts that are required in terms of restructuring, reorganization of the sector. And without an informed sector, without informed farmers and educated farmers and the workforce, this restructuring cannot take place. So, in terms of our presentation, we focused on the lifelong learning experiences given the topic. So, as a project, it's much more complex and tackles much more wider issues, but we would like to focus on the training of advisors and our experiences with farmers. So we'll go through the processes that the project went through in terms of identifying the needs, what came through from this exercise, and how we then use this information in order to develop the training programs, the training curricula, and finish off with an overview of the activities that was conducted with the project, with our experts in terms of training of advisors, and so on. So, but just before diving into the topic, just an overview of the project. I see some familiar faces, but many also new. So I think just a few minutes on what the project is about. So this is a new funded project. We are supporting the Ministry of Agriculture in establishing a modern advisory system, farm advisory system, and obviously with an emphasis on the system. The project is designed in a way to tackle two main blocks, two main areas. As a system, obviously, the first effort was in terms of developing the building blocks of the system, which tackled legislation, bylaws, defining the necessary structures and systems and services that were required. But I leave the focus of that to Gotse to elaborate more about the efforts from the ministry on this side. Also, as a project under this first component, I think it's important to mention that we have developed, so to say, a novel IT system for farm advisory services, which allows the ministry to really digitize the whole process from application to registration to licensing and monitoring of all the services on the ground. And I say this is something that we are very proud of, and actually many EU member states dream of having such a system also, so it's I think something that we should be really proud of. And in terms of the second component, the efforts focused then in terms of developing, looking into the current farming systems, the different sectors, what advisory training needs are required, and develop a number of packages, a number of services that would be then used and tailor-made by the different advisory services to support the farming sector. So there are a number of sub-activities. I'll not go into the detail of that, but just to mention that we started just over 2 years ago. We are actually coming to an end in April of this year. We are a small team of experts, myself and Dimitar as key experts, and supported by 4 local farm advisory service experts on crop production, on livestock production, on soft skills, and on farm business management. And thanks to the efforts of all, I believe we have managed to do a lot of important work in this sector. So, in terms of, again coming back to the relevance of the topic, I just wanted to start with a reflection about why lifelong learning is so important in this sector. We even in our experiences meeting with the farmers, meeting with the advisors, we start with discussions about why do I really need to be trained, what's in for me. I have 30-40 years of experiences. I've been serving the farmers so many years, but it's it's really the importance of it. As we know, I mean, agriculture is an evolving sector. So many, we hear in the introduction about the EU AKIS. I mean, the mountain of regulation, standards about food safety and other issues that are ongoing. So it is important that farmers and advisors in the first place keep up to date with all these issues, technology, research, what is going on, innovation in the sector, in order to remain viable, competitive. This also is important in order to allow farmer to be informed about what's going on, to make informed decisions, and also to, from the other side, allow farm advisors to provide meaningful advice, relevant advice. Finally, as I mentioned, in terms of the sustainability of the farming sector, I mean, with so many challenges, evolution of the agri-food systems, challenges in terms of production cost, farm gate prices, and so on, access to markets. Farmers need to know what to invest in, how to invest, and this is why education and advice is really critical. Just also to mention in terms of obligations, again, sticking with the issues of the EU AKIS, I mean, AKIS and advisory services are one of the main components of the AKIS, especially under Chapter 1. For member states, AKIS is an obligation. In fact, in their new CAP strategic plans, they are obliged to provide also AKIS plans in terms of how they will organize the systems, how advice will be provided, how farmers will benefit. And these requirements have also been transposed, so to say, in the new FAS regulation that has been prepared under the project and adopted recently in December of last year. I also want to make, I think, an important point in relation to the training of farmers, that whilst this is not an obligation per se in the EU, but we are seeing also a gradual and incremental movement in many member states that are now making it obligatory for farmers and for other beneficiaries of EU support, of public support, to receive to receive training, to receive advice in order to have access to this kind of support. And this is normal and natural, given that, I mean, the associated risks involved in agriculture and to ensure effective use of public support. In terms of going then directly to the subject, in terms of how then we tackled the process of identifying the training needs and developing the training programs. So just briefly, in terms of how we approach the whole process. We carried out an extensive training needs assessment, different combinations of activities through surveys, interviews, questionnaires. We went out on the field, on the farms, meeting with the farmers, with different stakeholders to discuss, advisors to discuss about their needs, their ideas, their challenges, in order to obviously allow us and guide us in the development of these training programs. We had also several consultations with training institutions. This was also important in order to understand, first and foremost, whether there is an interest from training institutions to pursue in designing and offering these kind of trainings to farmers, to advisors, to also understand the expertise that is available, and also to understand also in terms of the facilities that are available for not just the project to organize these trainings, but also looking forward. As part of also the project activities, the Ministry has also established an advisory service working group, which I say is one of the most pertinent platforms in terms of the successful activities of the project. It's composed of various representatives from various departments and also from the private sector, and we use this platform in order to discuss all the project activities and also provide us with feedback and consultation in terms of different products like the law, like the barriers, like the training programs, in order to also ensure that they are tailor-made to the current and local needs. also in terms of developing these programs, we also coordinated very closely with the Adult Learning Center, because we wanted to make sure that these vocational education training programs are programs which are first and foremost recognized, leads to a certificate which is recognized, and follow a structure which can then be also adopted and applied elsewhere by other training institutions. In terms of the structure and the methods and what were the findings, maybe I would like to invite my colleague Dimitar to give you a little bit more insight about that.
Thank you very much, Donald. Most of you will know from beginning of this project, also from other projects. I tried to explain a little how we define the training needs of farmers, training needs of advisors, also the needs, what kind of advisory services are most necessary for farmers. When we start this process, we make one online survey between many farmers and advisors, and as you can see on the screen, most of the farmers, and maybe above 90%, they never been on some kind of training the last 2 years, and also almost 66% of the advisors also. And the reason is not that they don't want to go to trainings, to information seminars, to receive and to acquire new knowledge, because the most main reason is not so availability of many trainings of them. And one of our project is as one of option for them to participate in trainings, also for advisors. Now under the pilot activities also include some, not exactly training, but some transfer of knowledge to farmers, which is also one of the main topic of our meeting today. Also maybe also interesting is what are expressed needs of training and advice. What you see, of course, for the farmers, I'm sorry, it is a little, maybe I can increase to see, yes. But, and you can see that for the farmers, most important are the advisory services related with financing. Of course, as you know, most of them think that if they receive enough budget, everything will be okay. But you know that not only financing is necessary, also knowledge. And this meeting, our discussion, I hope, we make some good recommendation how we improve the transfer of knowledge. But what also I would like to put attention is for cross-compliance advice. Cross-compliance, most of you know what is it, but maybe some know, doesn't know, is cross-compliance of all requirements on European and national level, all requirements to farmers if they want to receive support. You know, it is the requirements how to identify, to register their animals, how to keep the requirements for fertilizing, for use of pesticides. Everything is cross-compliance. And maybe because it is not so clear for the farmers, they not put on the first places. But for the advisors, and for them it's very important. Also, I think one of these reasons is good work in NEA, in National Extension Service, which raise the attention, also the knowledge of their advisors, what is cross-compliance. And other, of course, it is very important, you see, is climate change adaptation. All of us see that every year the climate is changed. And what to say for this year when maybe it is the most winter, which is the highest temperature in comparison with 70 years before, also for all Balkan countries. And we see a big problem is this, and all farmers want to receive advice. I can give some example. Now maybe most of the trees start to flowers in advance, and this is a big problem, and because of this, the advice what should farmer do by this moment is very important. And we try to make some rate which are the most important training needs for farmers and advisors. As Donald mentioned, as for the development of curriculum, but also for analysis of training needs, we take in consideration not only what the farmers and the advisors gave as answers, but also some focus groups, some meeting with farmers, also our evaluation as experts in this field. And for the farmers, this is according to from all our meetings, surveys, cross-compliance. The second is farm management, plant protection aspects, climate changes, and access to EPAR funding, maybe also to national scheme. For advisors, very important needs is soft skills, and others may be similar, as cross-compliance, crop animal production aspects, farm management, EPAR management. And for soft skills, when we organize this training, maybe after that Donald will explain, but you see that it was very interesting for the advisors and useful for them. And also one of our analysis, what was the most appropriate duration for one training for the farmer. Of course, we can make a series of trainings, but most of the farmers prefer the training to be not more than 1 day. Maybe one, sometimes half, okay, maximum 2 days. It is when we organize the trainings in the future, so you should organize for advisors training for the farmers. Have in mind that the most appropriate is 1 day training. You can do every month 1 day training, but it is appropriate not to, I don't think that somebody expect the farmer to have enough time to go 5 days, maybe one from time to time, but it not be so often. For the advisors, for them more prefer is training to be 2 or 3 days, maximum 4 or 5 days. And now I want to give again the floor to my colleague to finish our presentation, and maybe after that we have a discussion after our presentation. If you have a question on the survey, on everything, we will be here to reply.
Thanks, Dimitar. So, I mean, catching up on what Dimitar mentioned in terms of the main topics, as a project we have developed 2 training programs, 2 curricula. A curricula for farmers, which covers those topics and more. This curricula has not been implemented, so as a project we are not mandated to train, to deliver training to the farmers, but this will be made available on the IT system that I mentioned in the beginning. Part of that is there's a public component to that, as we call it an e-catalog. So this curriculum for training of farmers, the curriculum for the training of advisors will be uploaded and will be available for everyone. And this is important because, for example, for the training of advisors, as you see, I mean, the curriculum contains an extensive variety of training modules of both soft skills and technical modules, 33 in total. And this is important and relevant for training institutions where they can use, reuse, adapt these curricula based on their needs and their interests for the future. So, as a project, we have delivered a number of trainings under this curricula. As you see, I mean, there was a combination of selective modules and compulsory modules. The compulsory modules were soft skills modules, so training of advisors in terms of developing their competencies for communication, for facilitation, for presentation skills. This was very important because it's essential, as you know, not just to know the technical issues about a specific topic, but how to transfer that knowledge to the farmer. This is very, very important. And then the advisors had the facility to select from a number of technical modules based on their higher qualification, so the qualification had to be relevant to the training topic. And this program was actually also open to anyone, not just active advisors, but also experts which met the basic conditions and had an interest or have an interest to become advisors in the future. So as you see, I mean, a combination of courses on crop production, on animal production, on farm management, and also going forward in terms of further transformation of primary products. The training, I think it's important to mention, was for a trainee to be able to receive the certificate was to attend in full the 50 training hours, so 20 hours of training on soft skills and 30 of technical trainings, and for every module there were assessments that were conducted by our trainers. In terms of then a little bit more details about the execution of this training. So we started in June, actually in June, but before that there was a lot of work also by the team of experts to prepare the schedules of training, to prepare the training materials and organize all the trainings. So we organized 13 trainings over 6-7 months, over different parts of the country in order to facilitate participation. This was one of the main challenges actually that we came across. Advisors or experts didn't have the facility to travel or the resources to travel, so we tried to go to them ourselves in order to facilitate the uptake of these trainings. We had also very good cooperation with a number of host farms and organizations which opened their doors to be able to organize practical sessions, demonstrations as part of these trainings. We completed the training in December. In terms of participation, I think this is an important illustration that I think there's many important information coming forward. So as you see, these are the different regions where the training was organized, but not just, but also in terms of participation of the advisors. So we had 90 advisors that completed successfully the training, and the map provides a representation of the different regions where these advisors were actually coming from. So at a glance you can see that yes, there's in general good coverage, but weak coverage in some of the regions, and this is already an important starting point to start thinking how to strengthen the presence of advisors, not just in terms of numbers, but also in terms of expertise. This is important. In terms of the gender, we had 58% were male, 42 females, but I think what is also important here is the age bracket of the advisor. So you see that 69% were over the age of 40. Many of them actually coming to the age of retirement. So what does this mean? I mean, this means that there's a lot of effort that needs to be put through now, even yesterday, to rejuvenate this pool of expertise, to bring in younger advisors, because looking at the needs, at the number of advisors, but also at the needs of the farmers, if nothing is going to be done yesterday, in 2-3 years' time, you will not have enough advisors even to cover the regions, let alone the needs of the farmers. On a more positive finding, so to say, in our work we started with quite a, let's say, a gray zone in terms of who the private advisors are. We work very closely with NKEU. I will not go into too much details here, but in terms of the training, we had 122 applications, 106 were eligible, and as I mentioned, 90 have completed the training. Just to conclude with, I think, some brief observations and reflections